point with again the first slide itself about our chapter, the second chapter from social science on secularism. So what do you understand by the term secularism now?
Secularism means not promoting any one particular religion.
Okay, secularism means not promoting one particular religion. Who does not promote one particular religion?
Ma'am,
the state government.
central government.
Okay,
Ma'am, the government.
The government. Okay, so we can say the nation or the state does not promote one particular religion. It is all religions are equal in the eyes of government. By Indian constitution, we have right of equality. So we believe in secularism. That means all religions have equal rights in our country.
Ma'am, secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state.
Right, correct. So the state keeps itself away from the religion, does not promote any particular religion, does not declare a religion as the religion for the entire country to follow, and it being a particular state or a particular religion, as in the Hindu state or Hindu religion as the Hindu country. We do not declare ourselves like that. Like Saudi Arabia says it's a Muslim country. We do not declare ourselves as Hindu country, even though the population of Hindus is more than other population of other religions, which we can even call them minorities.
Yes.
So now, what do you see on the screen? What does it explain to you?
It's like a puzzle, ma'am, to show that all religions are united. There is Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Jewish, man, and the first one I don't recognize. So it shows that all religions are equal. All should be given equal rights.
So all should be given equal opportunities also, opportunity to talk. If let me just ask Sneha. Sneha, please explain this.
Ma'am, different types of religions.
Louder, please.
Ma'am, these are different types of religions in a type of puzzle.
Okay, so we are saying for a country, we are all united. All these religions, people from all religions come together and they are one. So that is how the country is also one and country is also united.
Yes, ma'am.
With people from all religions participating in the country. Now, the very basic introduction, no one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. This is what we believe in India. So our essence of secularism is basically, as I told you earlier, that it is 2 Ds. So there should not be any discrimination of any religion. Discrimination should not be done by a majority, by a major religion for a minority or a religion which has people less in number. Or discrimination should not be done within the same religion also. So if there are Hindus, there should not be discrimination on the basis of caste, whether they are Brahmins, whether they are Shudras. That discrimination should not be encouraged. Second point, then, all forms of domination related to religion. Religion, there is a domination by the caste, people from different caste within the same religion, or people from one religion dominating the minority. So the Muslims are also divided into 2. There are can someone tell me, Muslims, which are the groups that they are divided into? Shias and Sunnis. And the Buddhism, what are the groups in Buddhism?
Shwetas.
Jainism.
Ma'am, Hinayans and Mahayans, ma'am.
Hiranayas and Mahayanas.
Okay. Jainism, they are divided into?
Shwetambar and Digambar.
Shwetambar and Digambar. Should be discriminated on the grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. So all domination, all forms of domination should be avoided, should be ended. So people from the same religion should not dominate on the basis of caste, that the Brahmins dominate on the basis of caste to Shudras or people of other religions which are in majority should not dominate on the minority. If there is no discrimination, obviously there will be no domination also. So then we will have a proper democratic country with equal rights for everyone, equality for everyone. So our essence of secularism is based on discrimination and domination, which should end. Then only we will have democracy. So we had discussed the examples of the history. History has provided us with many examples of discrimination and exclusion and persecution on the grounds of religion. So there are these examples that Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany and how several millions were killed. However, then the Jewish as a return in the state of Israel, which is majorly Jewish Israel, they treat its own Muslims and Christians minorities quite badly. And I just mentioned that Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country, so their non-Muslims there do not have the kind of freedom that the Muslims enjoy. The rights and privileges that the Muslims enjoy in Saudi Arabia are not available for non-Muslims. So these are where people have voiced their opinion against such kind of domination, that everybody is equal. There's this in France, they had even from 2004, they had asked them not to wear the head scarf. So this is part of the religious sentiment. So they were asking that since 1960, they were brought to France majorly. France. So they were brought in 1960s, and this is what they follow as our dilemma. They give up something which is their identity, though many of them might be brought and they are born and brought up in France, but they still want to follow their own identity. So their religious sentiment should be taken care of. So that is why in France they are asking that they as human rights have this right of choice. So if they wish to wear headscarves, they should be permitted. And France does not allow any symbols of religion to be worn. So whether it is cross or whether it's this headscarf, it will not be permitted in France to be worn. So these are where people are saying we are all human and we have the rights to stand up for our right also and be treated equally. Problem with an official state. So as I was discussing, if we make India as a Hindu country or any other religion, if we say, the problem is then immediately there will be a discrimination. One religion will start discriminating against the minor religion and will start dominating against the minor religion. So which will not be it will be in contrast with our constitution, which lays our fundamental rights. The right is there of right to equality. Then we will not be having equality and justice and freedom of religion as a fundamental right if we have this discrimination and we make India as a country of a particular religion. We label it, we state it that the official religion of India is X religion. Then that would result in discrimination and domination that would take place, and this would be in expense of other religions. So even though we are dominated, or we are the majority of people in India are Hindus, we cannot make it a Hindu nation. It would not be according to our fundamental rights, equal, just, and it will not give the people right to freedom of religion. So in order to say that we are secular, we, which is whether Hindus, Christians, Muslims, Sikhs or any other religion, we are all one. We stand together, we are all united. So coming to the definition of secularism, secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state. We have just understood why religion should be kept separate from the state. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious belief and practice as they interpret it. So even the practices whether it was the recent solar eclipse that had taken place. So people practiced within the same religion, Hindu religion. People had different practices, whether they wanted to eat the a meal in the morning or throughout the day or not, or fast throughout the day, or do not eat through the solar eclipse. That was their choice, their practice that they wanted to follow. So the Indian Constitution gives absolute freedom to live by the religion that you choose, your choice. You're born into one religion, but thereafter, which religion you wish to follow, or you want to continue with the same religion, or convert to another religion, or have your own religious beliefs, practices, you want to interpret it in your own style, no one will stop you from doing that. You have that entire freedom. So in keeping with the ideas of religious freedom for all, India has adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of state. So a state is different from religion. It would not like to intervene or interfere in religious matters. So why is it important to separate? It is important for a country to function democratically, so it is important to separate the functions of the state as well as separate the religion from the state. So almost all countries in the world will have more than one people, one type of group of people that will be staying, more than one religious group that is living with them. So without this separation, there will be a tyranny of the majority and a violation of the fundamental rights. So the majority will dominate on the minority, and the minority cannot exercise their fundamental right, which is the basic right, which is above any law or rule. And we have in India given them the fundamental right, as in right to religion. So they have the choice to religion, and that should be maintained. So the state needs to be separate from the religion. So we also need to protect the freedom of individuals. So they can exit from a religion, they can embrace another religion, they can convert into another religion. They have the freedom to interpret their religious teachings differently. I'm born in a certain religion. My mother might be understanding my religious text in a different manner, and I have the choice to understand and interpret according to modern times in a different manner. So that all that choice is given to me. It is not forced, but it is given to me the choice, that freedom as an individual, which religion I want to follow, which beliefs, traditions, customs I wish to follow is given to me. Also, like in schools, the prayers of the school, it can be in a Christian school, a Christian prayer. So how secular is India? So what is our Indian secularism? So Indian Constitution mandates, it says that India is secular, and it was very, very important from the very beginning that we claim and declared that it is a secular country, because we began our constitution was made after our independence. So at the time of independence, Pakistan and India were separated on the basis of religion. For Pakistan was made a Muslim country, and Hindus and other religions stayed back in India. So with that division and that thing in mind, we now after after our independence, after we wanted to declare it that we are secular. We are granting the rights of our own individuals, of our citizens, that they have the right to stay here and enjoy the benefits of a secular country. So we made it very clear that one religious community will not dominate another, that some members of a religious community do not dominate other members of the same religious community. Like I told you, Hinduism is divided into various castes. So whether it's Brahmin, Kshatriyas, they should not be dominating on the Shudras, which they are as caste. So the members of the same religion should not be dominating the members of the same religion, or should not be dominating on other religions as well. So state does not enforce any particular religion, and nor does it take religious freedom of individuals. So the strategies that are followed by Indian state to put secularism into practice are, so here this is symbolic of we are one, that our power stands in being one. We are all united, that's what India is, and it's secular. So the strategy of distancing itself from religion. So the Indian state is not ruled by a religious group, and it does not support any one religion. In India, government spaces are not supposed to display or promote any one religion. In fact, the religious festivals are given as public holidays, and government schools do not celebrate that in the school and it is given as a public holiday to celebrate it whichever way you like to celebrate it in your house. In your house, your own custom traditions you can follow and celebrate it as you like it. So the government spaces, so in a government you cannot put religious, in a government office you cannot put religious symbols and show that you are favoring a particular religion. You are promoting a particular religion. That will not be acceptable. They have a strategy of non-interference, that means that they will not interfere with religious practices. The state makes certain exceptions in this case where there is for the purpose of the Sikh community is exempted from wearing a helmet, though helmet is compulsory on the roads for the purpose of protection of the citizens in case of any accident. But for Sikh community, when they approach and their religious sentiments were linked to wearing of a turban, they were allowed wearing a turban or a pagdi, and it was an exception to the rule, and their sentiments were kept in mind. And a strategy of intervention. Now it is opposite to where we are saying that the state will not intervene. But if required, then the state has to intervene. When will it be required? It will be required if it violates whatever is happening in the society, or a rule or a new law is being made which violates the fundamental rights of people itself. Then fundamental rights are above everything else. So in order to end a social practice that discriminates and excludes and violates the fundamental rights, the laws, like the laws against untouchability, were made. Untouchability is banned. So untouchability is now prohibited. So earlier, in our past, Hinduism was divided into 4 groups, and with this the casteism started, and with that there was the Shudra, and they became untouchable because they were doing the menial jobs, the least jobs, menial jobs, even handling the human excreta they were doing. So in a village, they would take the human excreta, put it on their head in baskets and go and throw it outside the village. So please, if you understand, then there were no washrooms and all that were available then, toilets, washroom, bathrooms. So this had to be manually thrown outside the village, and these people were helping us individuals remain clean and hygienic with this sanitation. So, but because they were dealing with it, they were the lowest in the strata. That's why they were agreeing to do it, and then they were labeled also as untouchable because they are dealing with the lowest menial jobs. So over a period of time, then they became backward. They were in some villages, they were asked to stay outside the village and only come and work inside and not even touch an individual. If by chance an untouchable happened to touch a Brahmin, or another person happened to touch, or a Brahmin while walking across has touched an untouchable, still untouchable would be punished for that offense. The Shudra who was declared as an untouchable, he would be. So they had been exploited for a very long period of time. At the time also changed. So it was time that the taxes make those laws which banned untouchability, which prohibited untouchability. So the strategy for sport, we said one is interference. Then the other way they can do is they can support something. The government can support, or they can use coercive measures also. How does it support? The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. So the Muslims can set up their madrasas, Christians have their Saint Joseph, Saint Mary's, Holy Cross, all these Catholic kind of names. They set up their own schools. So they can set up their own schools and colleges. They can have their own prayers there, their own teaching, have religious teachings also. It also gives them financial aid to religious communities on a non-preferential basis. So no preferential basis, but if there is a minority and there's a need to uplift them, there's a need to give for some religious purposes, then financial aid would be given, but that would not be any preferential basis that, oh, we prefer this particular religion over the other religion. So as a government, we will pay money and give financial aid for the promotion of this religion. That is not permitted. So even the taxes are if you give your money as donator money for some religious purposes or to some religion function that is taking place or promoting a particular religion, your money is still taxable. But if government is giving as an aid to some minority religion, that is then government can take your taxpayers' money and help a minority as an aid. Now, we are going to discuss the difference between US secularism and Indian secularism. There's a slight difference in these two, because the First Amendment of the US Constitution provides laws respecting, it says that respecting an establishment of religion or prohibit the exercise of religion. So Indian secularism, the state can intervene. We have seen that where required, the state will intervene. But the US secularism, the state will not intervene in the matters of religion, and religion will not intervene in the matters of state. So Indian Constitution has intervened, as you have seen, in Hindu religious practices in order to establish untouchability. That is about secularism. Secularism is only an ideology till we act on it. What is important is we follow it. We believe in it. We believe all religions are equal. We are all equal. Basically, we are all humans, and united we stand. We need to follow that.